But while the Kraken might not have dropped a puck yet, they've already built up an impressive rapport with the Seattle community, as well as an emphasis on diversity and inclusion in its front office and its financial contributions to organizations impacted by COVID-19. The club has made a significant pledge to open up the game of hockey to everyone, with 3 sheets of community ice going in at its Northgate Ice Centre. And as we heard about earlier, for the first 30 days, 100% of the net proceeds from the special Release the Kraken merchandise line, which has just gone on sale, will go to its partners YouthCare, who help support young people facing homelessness, as well as community-based organisations serving people of colour. With me are Horita from Seattle Kraken. She is VP of Philanthropy and Community and the CEO of YouthCare, Melinda Giovengo. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. Mari, if I could start with you. We've heard already a lot from Todd Leiweke, the CEO, earlier, and from Jay Deutsch, one of the owners, about the importance of community. In your own words, why does Seattle Kraken have such a focus on its community?
Well, as Todd and Jay mentioned to you, it's part of the foundation of this organization. And yes, we want to bring a Stanley Cup back. And yes, we're fans first. But we also know that we have this real opportunity to leverage our resource to make a positive impact and really make change for so many in this region, and particularly those who may have not had the same opportunities.
And particularly during this time of hardship in coronavirus, how important is it that organizations like Seattle Kraken are stepping up to help those most impacted?
Thanks for asking about that, because a lot of these, like YouthCare, for example, that's serving a marginalized population, which happened under COVID, it becomes that much more difficult. I mean, you're talking about homeless youth. It's hard to shelter in place if you don't have shelter. And so the challenges that were already very large became that much greater with COVID, and the team at YouthCare is on the front line, and that's been exhausting for them as well, to really try to figure out how to continue to lift up these youth who are so deserving of love and support and respect in this increasingly challenging time. And so it costs more money, it requires more resources, and so we're really humbled to be able to help, even if in some small way.
And Melinda, just give us an idea about YouthCare, the overview. What is it that YouthCare does?
Well, YouthCare serves about 1,500 young people a year who are experiencing homelessness or those that are at high risk of homelessness. And we do everything from find them out on the streets to providing a meal and shelter. But most importantly, to this partnership, is the continuation of their life dreams. So we really believe in the investment in education and employment and helping young people find their future through our work. If a young person walks away from us and never looks back and has a job and an education, that's exactly what we want to see moving forward. And it's from the moment I met the folks at NHL and the arena redesign, I knew that we were in the right partnership with the right people who cared about this community and mostly about our young people.
And the impact, we just talked to Mari about the impact of COVID-19. How significantly has that impacted the work that you do?
Well, it's been very, very challenging. Like Mari said, it's hard to shelter in place if you have no shelter. And so YouthCare has had to redesign all of its engagement services, our entry-level services, to create and partner with other organizations to create a 24-hour response system so that young people can get up in the morning and have a place to be all day with 3 meals a day, continue their education, continue their employment options, and continue figuring out what they need next to move on. So we've done that in 3 different locations throughout the city, as well as keep our regular shelter programs and housing programs open 24 hours a day, keeping young people entertained, educated, and engaged in moving forward with their lives throughout all of our settings. We've had to set up emergency pantries and food to get all of that out because we're not used to having to provide 24/7 services to all of our centers out in the community.
And what does this partnership, Melinda, mean to you at YouthCare alongside Seattle Kraken?
Well, it means a lot of things. First and foremost, it gives our young people an opportunity to be at the forefront of probably the biggest development and civic project we've had in Seattle in a very long time. And it puts our young people in the front and center of that to help the community understand what they're going through and show how they can support. Of course, there's a financial support that they have pledged to us for the next 10 years, 20 years. And the reality is that's great. But the most important is the idea that we're going to be part of the community development, and our young people are going to have the opportunity to get jobs, to learn skills, and be part of this civic engagement in our community. Aside from that, most of our young people that we serve are young people of color, young people that are LGBTQ. A lot of our young people are kicked out for coming out, or they're kicked out because their families simply can't afford them. This partnership is going to allow us to build a really state-of-the-art training facility and training pathway for each of these young people to move forward with their lives. And that's what's the most exciting about this organization and this partnership.
And Mari, tell us more about the partnership with YouthCare. Why was YouthCare selected by Seattle Kraken to partner up?
Yes, well, YouthCare was part of our organization before our organization existed. And really that's because Melinda met Tim, and they immediately formed this deep and authentic bond. And she told him what she told you about the work that YouthCare does to lift up these youth in our community so that all youth have the opportunity to realize a brighter future. And by providing basic services, yes, but also creating that space and that sense of belonging and of being seen and of being valued, which is so important to a youth just realizing their full potential. So I would say it's Melinda. Melinda was one of the real reasons, and it's also because of what the organization does. They have a huge reputation. You know, they've been around for over 40 years, doing incredible work. And I would add that youth homelessness is not always the most visible type of homelessness, and so it's not necessarily top of mind when we think about the regional homelessness crisis. And yet in Washington State alone in 2018, over 40,000 K-12 public school kids experienced homelessness or housing insecurity, and that has, as we mentioned, only gotten worse, and the conditions worse under COVID.
And I would say that ending homelessness in our community for young people is so much more than just a house and food. Ending homelessness is about the kind of partnerships that we're forming with NHL in terms of helping young people move forward with the future.
And Mari, as well as YouthCare, Seattle Kraken are also helping people in communities of colour alongside YouthCare with the proceeds of this merchandise sale. What can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. Well, one of the pillars of our foundation, the visions of our foundation, is creating a more equitable society where everyone can realize a brighter future. And we acknowledge that BIPOC youth and communities have suffered disproportionate, discrimination for a very long time, and incidents of late are not isolated or new, but have caught the attention of the world. And we're in a moment in time when we can really lean into this and utilize our platform and our resources, because the world's listening. And so we have both the opportunity really and the obligation to partner with organizations like the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle and community passageways that do really important work in BIPOC communities.
And sport really, in a way, Mari, has a unique ability, does it not, through its ties to the community, to make impactful change?
I think so. I mean, you don't find many platforms like this, and it's a positive platform that bring people together, people who might not otherwise spend time together or have anything else in common, but share in this experience and rooting for a team and just in that moment. I guess now we're doing it virtually, but it's such an important part of our culture. And as we heard from Kyle today, here's a guy who's played hockey his whole life and he loves it. And we're just so excited about bringing hockey to all of Seattle, because everyone should love the game and really feel part of our family and this amazing sport.
And Melinda, a final word from you, if I could, please. How do you hope this merchandise funds will help you move forward?
Well, we're hoping to be able to use the proceeds from this to actually continue to support our staff and our young people through this COVID response today, as well as begin to lay the foundations for our Education and Employment Center. We need to get young people back on their paths, and COVID's not going to stand in our way. So these funds will help us get those services back in our programs every day to keep young people moving forward with their futures.
And we can see right now on our screens the merchandise which is available for people to go and buy at our new Seattle Kraken website. It's releasethekrakenstore.com. Mari Horita and Melinda Giovengo, thank you very much both for joining me.
Thank you.
Go Kraken.
Go Kraken, absolutely. You're welcome in the building anytime, Melinda.
All right. I can't wait. Thank you.
I love it. I love the passion. That is what we have been getting time and again throughout today.